Andrew Haug here for AndrewHaug.com, Australia's only dedicated 24/7 rock metal radio station. And this is one band who I've been heavily following their career, well, almost since day dot. The mighty Obituary are returning to Australia shortly for two exclusive shows, not to be missed for both people in Melbourne and Sydney. So let's make him welcome on AndrewHaug.com, drummer Donald Tardy from Obituary. G'day, Donald. How you doing?
Andrew, I'm doing well, man. Good to hear from you, and I am proud to be a part of this.
Awesome. I'm proud to actually see you actually back in Australia playing live again. And again, like I mentioned, these two exclusive shows, which is sort of like a landmark sort of performance that covering the first sort of three records of Obituary's career, which many hail as possibly the most important releases for the band. How was it? Has it been tough, I guess, working out a set list without sort of giving it away? Whose idea was it to sort of get together and discuss these three records to do these performing shows?
It was the band's idea. The fans were there. They were giving us the hints that they thought that would be really cool. We agreed that it would be an amazing idea until we actually dove into learning the songs, or I should say trying to learn the old songs, because some of these songs, they're 25 years old, and some of them we've never even played on stage. So once we realized that we committed to it and we had to learn the old songs the way they were, man, what a challenge that was. But, now that we have them down pat, it is an amazing set list, and it's really fun for the band members to play these songs that are, that have been around this long. So we're excited about it, and I know people are going to super enjoy this when they see it live.
Now, when you mention about playing the songs the way they were recorded, I see a lot of bands over the years who sort of pull out the classics out of the bag, but are never really performing them sort of the way they were. They might chop out a section or, whereas seeing Obituary live several times over the years, literally time has stood still, because what you sort of see live is exactly what's been captured on tape. The band's been able to manage to retain, I guess, its authenticity in its music. So I guess in the earlier sort of years, was that something that you always focused on, making sure what was on tape is exactly what people get live, especially John's vocals?
I don't think we ever actually focused and tried to, I don't think we thought about that as 20-year-olds. It just seemed to turn out that way, and we've always been the band that when we wrote songs in the studio, it's really weird that it seems like with my drums, let's take my drums. Once I learned the song, even when I was 20 years old, when I would learn a song and I got excited about the performance and what I did on that song, I made it a point to play it exactly like that from there on out. Every snare hit, every little flam, every little cymbal crash, I tried to keep it that way. Now, of course, in my 40s now, there's a lot on those records that kind of are frustrating for me listening to it, and I wish I would have done a little bit more or a little bit less, a little bit tastier. So I did add some elements to it, which I think helps the performance live. But in general, yes, you are right, man. We try our best to keep those songs as authentic as we possibly can, because, it is what it is. They're 20-something years old, and it is just music. So we tried our best to keep it like it is.
Was some of these tracks just a surprise for you when you actually went back and listened to them to relearn? Especially songs you probably hadn't listened to for a number of years. Were you surprised to hear, those tracks yourself? And what was the rest of the band's sort of thoughts like, dude, we can't do that, or we got to do that? Tell us about the sort of general vibe and discussion listening to the earlier stuff.
Absolutely. There's songs that we did select and that we picked, simply knowing that we had to figure it out, because we knew they were good ideas. We knew that some of these songs off like the Slowly We Rot album, we knew that a couple of the songs we wanted to play them, but once we sat there and we looked at each other, and Trevor was trying to figure out what he was doing back 25 years ago, you literally wanted to punch yourself right in the face and just say, why would you do something like this, knowing that you're going to try and do a 20 and 30-year career, and now at the age that we're at, to try and figure out these songs? It was hilarious. We were going back and forth going, is it really worth trying to learn this song? We listened to the whole album, and we picked the songs we thought were awesome, and then we sat down and tried to figure out riff by riff, and it was hilarious. The frustration was just, it was hilarious watching band members try and figure out songs that they wrote and they don't even remember their own songs. That's what happens when you've been together for 3 decades.
What about John and his vocals? Because obviously we knew in the earlier years the band never really had lyrics. John just sort of made noises, and no one sounds like him vocally. How was his take on going back to the earlier material and, again, saying, trying to figure out the words, which we know at the time there weren't really many, but to sort of impersonate, I guess, his previous vocal delivery? How was that?
I was surprised that he I think, was the one that had it easiest. Once me and Trevor figured it out and got the song going and we practiced it a few times, John was sitting at the desk and writing his stuff down and kind of refiguring out what the syllables were and this and that. But once he got going, man, he had he was scratching his head a little bit here and there, but other than that, it seemed pretty natural for him. And now that we just went to Europe and we did the classic set list and we did America, and it's amazing that John has no lyrics on some of these songs, but yet he's doing it exactly like he did when he was in his 20s. And I don't even know how he does it. Honestly, I don't know how he does it, but it's better than ever. These songs are so powerful live. The crowd better bring an extra set of underwear because they're going to crap themselves because it is heavy and it's awesome. It's very cool seeing these old songs on stage with these old guys.
We will be prepared. Now let's escape the past for a second and move forward into the future. I guess keep us updated on what's happening with Obituary in 2013 as far as new music.
Man, oh man, the new songs for this record are coming out unbelievable. I have never been so excited. I don't think we've ever written songs quite so well. Maybe once again, that's because we've been hanging out with each other for 30 years now. But the songs that we have already finished, we practiced today, and we rehearsed those songs. They're unbelievable. They're, as our fans know, we are not rocket scientists. We do not try to do a million things in one song. We do not try to go a million miles an hour. That is not Obituary style. We know what we are. We are happy with the way we are, and these songs are classic Obituary songs. My brother does not sing at practice. I think we know that. Anyone that has followed us over the years, when we're writing new songs, he is not going to sit there and spend his voice through a microphone. Instead, he sits there and he writes his lyrics out. He talks about the song when we're finished with it. Me and Trevor will play the new song again. All he does is he looks at me and he says, "Dude, you have no idea." And when I know my brother says that, look out. This new album is going to be incredible. And I am super excited about it.
And when are we looking at a release for the record? Later this year?
Well, we were thinking about it as later this year, but we are really taking our time with this album. We want it to be a massive album, and we know that we are in no timeline. We're not with a record label. We're still in negotiation. We're still actually just thinking outside the box even, man. Once again, we're a band that is not afraid to do something different. We've been around long enough. We're not just going to settle for any kind of typical record deal. We very well might even just try and go out completely outside the box and see if our fans will get our backs and support us. We might try and do this album on our own, and we have financial support, and we seriously might try and go for it. But that also means a few more months extra. So instead of trying to do a late 2013 release, we might be thinking about a February 1st release, preparing for the festival season in Europe. And that's super exciting because, yes, it's a little bit longer for fans to wait, but we promise that it's going to be a massive album. It's not just going to be an 8 or 9 song album. This thing's going to be massive, and it's going to be well worth the wait for the Obituary fans that have been waiting long enough.
Well, let's you touched upon about going out on your own. A lot of bands are doing that these days. It seems to be a lot more power back to the bands and the artists these days. But it's also a lot harder too because there's so many artists out there now, all new up-and-coming bands. What's your take on, I guess, the current state of the heavy music scene? And for a band that's been going for or close to 30 years now, do you think it is the way to go to sort of get out and sort of do it alone? I know that you guys have sort of been managing yourselves for a number of years too, so you've got a lot more experience under your belts than, let's say, a new up-and-coming band with a 5-year career.
Yeah, we have been thinking about this a lot. We have record labels that are very eager to work with us, and we want to do what's right for ourselves. we know that no matter what happens, we're going to record the album like it is. It's going to come out as badass as it possibly can. My snare drum sound's going to be ripping. The guitars are going to be heavy as balls. So we know that the production part of it is going to be classic Obituary. And we know the most important thing that we know is fans are waiting very eagerly to support us. And that's really the only important thing. If we got signed tomorrow to the biggest record label on the planet, or if we did it tomorrow on our own, what do fans care? All they care that, only thing they care about is when is it coming out and how good does it sound and what are the songs like. That changes nothing if we sign to the biggest record label on the planet or if we did it on our own. So, we've been really thinking about this and staring at each other these last few months, and it's very tough nowadays, man. We know that a lot of people stream music for free. We know that the internet is there, so the album sales are very tough. So when you sign yourself to a record deal, that most of the time the record label wants you for a multiple album contract, and that's tough for us right now, man. We really want to be super creative and not be locked down with anything, and give fans a ton of ideas and a ton of songs these next few years, and doing it on our own. So we have the capabilities, we have the creativity, and we're having more fun than we've ever had. And I really want that to happen, man, because when a band is happy, the fans are happy. On the other hand, when a band is struggling and they're not making money and they're on a record label that's making all the money, it's sometimes hard to have fun, and your fans feel that. So Obituary is really thinking about the fans, and we really are thinking about trying to do this thing on our own, hoping that the fans have got our back, man, and that they simply buy the record.
Well, I'll certainly have you back when you hit to Australia shortly. Let's check out those shows. You're doing the show on the 3rd of May at the SB in Melbourne and the 4th at the Manning Bar. 2 exclusive shows only, and the Manning Bar shows in Sydney. We can get you to say a couple last words to the fans, Donald, and choose your favourite track that is in the set list. Bit of a spoiler there, but choose your favourite Obituary track that we will be hearing at these 2 very, very special Obituary shows.
Absolutely, man. The main thing is it is only 2 shows, and Australia is a massive country. It's a massive piece of land on this planet, and we know that we can't get everywhere. Unfortunately, it is only 2 shows, and very, very few of you guys are going to be able to see that thing. We apologize in advance. We promise when this album comes out, especially if we do it on our own, we are gonna make it a point to see every corner of this planet. Most importantly, if you cannot make it to one of these shows, we have a website that we are going to be streaming live one of these nights. We don't know which one yet because we have to find out what the Wi-Fi situation is, but we promise that if you can't make it while we're on these, while we're doing the Australian Asian tour, if you know you cannot make it to a show, you simply go to unation.com/obituary. There's a thing right there. It says live stream. You click it, you're going to be able to watch us on stage live. It's probably going to be from Japan or from one of these Australian shows. So if you're in your living room and you're crying and you're going, God, I wish those guys were coming to my town, at least you know you can crack a cold beer and you can watch Obituary live streamed from the internet. unation.com/obituary. You guys, please check it out. I'm very, very excited about this new website of ours. We have a lot of cool stuff coming your way in 2013 and, more importantly, 2014 with this new record. Thank you very much, guys. Turn up the music. This one is Stinky Puss, and I promise you, you're going to hear it live, and if you don't hear it live, you're going to see it at unation.com/obituary.
Awesome. Can't wait. Thanks again for your time, Donald.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you, everybody. We appreciate everybody's support, and for God's sakes, the new album, you are going to love it.
Awesome. Let's check out some Obituary now here on andrewhaug.com.